Welcome back to A Chapter a Day.
Keeps the devil away.
I'm Pastor Pleck. That's Pastor Holland, and we are talking John chapter 11. We're going to outline it. We're going to find some observation, do some interpretation, land the plane with an application you can take along with you today. So starts off with the illness of Lazarus and Jesus' delay in the first 16 verses. Lazarus, who's the brother of Mary and Martha, from, the Martha who works a whole lot and Mary who likes to sit at the feet of Jesus, that Lazarus dies and he waits 4 days before he shows up. Then Jesus does arrive and he has conversations with Martha and Mary, both sisters, and he has completely different conversations with them in verses 17 through 37. Martha, he gives a lesson on the resurrection, and with Mary, he just weeps with her. Okay, then you got verses 38 through 44, the raising of Lazarus at the tomb, a cave sealed by a stone. Jesus prays publicly, and then bam, Lazarus come out, and he comes out. Verses 45 through 53 talks about the Sanhedrin's plot and Caiaphas' prophecy. Many Jews believe when they see the sign, but a bunch don't, and they are going to figure out a way to kill him, this guy who can raise people from the dead. Then finally, verses 54 through 57, Jesus withdraws, and then he continues his ministry. He heads to Ephraim with the disciples, avoiding a Judea pre-Passover. Chief priests and Pharisees then issue orders for reporting his whereabouts, heightening the tension as people speculate about his arrival. All right, let's get into some observations that we see here. One thing I saw was Jesus is really human. He weeps, he's troubled, he has deep emotion and anger. Because it's a weird translation on that. Like he sees, moved. Yeah, to be deeply moved, and I think in some translation he gets angry. Right, the word there is there's an anger stirred up in him about that emotional reaction. I don't think he's mad at anyone in particular there, but I do think he's mad at the way that sin has affected people. That would be my opinion on that.
Yeah, the word for deeply moved.
Yeah.
Embrimaomai.
Yeah.
Embrimaomai. It's says to be moved with anger is the first definition given.
Right.
And so, yeah, to be deeply moved, we think like inspired or something like that, but it's really more of like a deep kind of loving, jealous, protective anger that's used in a different kind of way. And so, it's an interesting emotion.
Yeah,
Jesus
that's why I don't think he's like mad at Mary or any of the other people for mourning.
Like he's mad at death.
He's mad at death.
Yeah.
And he's going to conquer it.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah, it's really awesome. We also get another I am statement here. We are now on to the fifth I am statement, where Jesus, again, I am, ego, eimi. It's hearkening back to the revelation of God to Moses in the burning bush, where it says, I am who I am. And so Jesus is identifying with that divine name of God with these 7 I am statements. And there's the fifth one, I am the resurrection and the life.
Yeah,
and so just
good.
A reminder that he will conquer death. That's who he is.
Yeah, okay. And then I love Martha, who gives a bold confession of like, yes, Lord, I believe you are the Christ, the Son of God. And even now, he'll give you whatever you want. I love that just belief that Jesus can. But then a humility of like, I don't know if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really like, once we get later to John chapter 20, where, he says kind of the theme verse of the book, right? Mm-hmm. These things are written so that you may believe Jesus is the Christ,
right,
the Son of God, and by believing have life in his name. And here's what she says here. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God. And so she's really put forward as an exemplary confessor of Jesus. It's like, hey, she gets it.
But he almost rebukes her, which is kind of, it's like you'd think that Jesus, because she says, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother would not have died. And then his response is like a theology lesson, which I just thought was sort of an odd, okay, but even now, Jesus, your brother will rise again. He's like, yeah, your brother will rise again. And I know he'll rise again in the resurrection. Jesus said to her, I am the I love that. It's like, it's not gentle here. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like direct. It feels like, he's solemn, but he's not like, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But then
he's giving her a firm hope, and he's revealing himself to her. And
I am the resurrection. Okay. Then Mary says the same exact thing. She goes, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come with her weeping also, he was deeply moved. This part he gets angry. And then he said, where have you laid him? They said, come and see. Jesus wept. Like, his response to them isn't anything theological. It isn't anything like, it's just pure crying. Which then I wonder if like this was such a deep lesson of how God, especially if you've been raised in a household where it's the same dad or same mom and you've got different siblings, you approach them uniquely. Like if Jesus would have started crying with Martha, she'd be like, what the heck is wrong with you? She'd almost probably be mad at him. But with Mary, she needed lamentation. She needed his compassion with which I think is a wild thought, right? Like that Jesus ministers to us individually, even though we're from the same family, even same blood family, even going through the same thing, had the same loss, but Jesus knows how to respond to people uniquely.
Yeah. And, Jesus wept. Shortest Bible verse.
Why do you think the guy who numbered the Bible
that's exactly what I was about to say. I just go, like, you're reading through this, you're picking the Bible verse numbers, and you go, well, you can't really, maybe you lump it in with verse 34.
Yeah.
They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. It seems like such a standalone statement, though, that it needs to be.
And maybe the guy thought it was so profound that he was like, I want to give this its own verse.
Yeah. And I love it because, Jesus has gone through a lot at this point, and he hasn't wept over any of it.
Right.
Like when people try to kill him, try to stone him, call him, you've got a demon, you're insane. He's not crying because people are being mean to him.
Bro.
He's not crying because life is hard and, he's tired or he's in pain. He weeps here, over death and over the brokenness of how sin has ruined a good thing. And so it's like, to me, it's a good lesson of like, there is something that is right to cry about, even as a man. But it's not petty stuff, it's not even like life's hard or I'm in pain or people were mean to me. He's not crying about any of that stuff, but he does weep here over the brokenness of the world.
Yeah.
That's powerful to me.
I think it's so amazing. And so the point about the verses, if you're not familiar with the Bible, remember when the Bible was written, it didn't have verses. That was added hundreds of years later by a guy that wanted to make it just simpler so he could find passages.
It not only didn't have verses, it didn't have spaces or punctuation. It was all capital letters with no spaces or punctuation.
It was like one big like SMH, IMO, L. I was going to say a different one, but
so like be thankful when you read an English Bible that has verse numbers and chapter headings and capital and lowercase letters and punctuation, like, man.
And whenever they wrote God, they didn't actually write God, they wrote theta. And they like just assume you knew that meant God.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, yeah, sorry, that was a little aside. What other observations can you make? Can I just get the one that might be just too funny?
Okay.
There's Lazarus in heaven.
Right.
Hanging out in the mansion. He's been there for a couple days now. And then all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. Hey, Lazarus, we don't typically do this, but we're sending you back.
Sucked right out back on earth.
Yeah, and you would be like, what? I mean, what a downer for Lazarus. And I wonder if why you don't ever hear from Lazarus again. He's just like, I just want to go back home. This is horrible. Like, once you're in the presence of God, anything else is like.
I had just escaped this broken, sad, painful world.
He finally, his hip that was displaced was like working perfectly again.
Okay, well now on that, remember. Actually, maybe, what do you believe about this? Before, my theology on this is that before the resurrection of Christ, the souls of the departed did not go to heaven, but rather went down to the place of the dead, Sheol, or in Hebrew, or Hades in Greek, a waiting place for the dead, where there's two sides, one for the righteous dead, one for the wicked dead. And so it wasn't the heaven experience, although it was
I mean, it was definitely, he was being comforted, like, so Lazarus.
There is a comfort there.
He was being comforted at Abraham's bosom.
But it was still a place that, like David or other Psalms would say, like, I don't want to be in the place of the dead. I want to be in the land of the living.
Right.
You get the sense that life on earth was actually better than being in the land of the dead.
All right, here's my only thought.
Maybe.
Because I mean, if you're at peace, like, it's not like Samuel. Well, now, granted, we don't know if that was actually Samuel that was brought up by the witch, but like it's a place of peace, no more pain, all of that at least, right? And you do recognize each other. You can recognize one another there.
Yeah.
And there's a chasm split between...
Because the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, which not the same Lazarus, but a different Lazarus.
Oh, ironically, it's a different... That's true.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
But he sees Abraham on the other side. He's on the wicked side, burning.
The rich dude, yep.
But not the lake of fire, not hell yet, but just a very hot, uncomfortable...
And he's just like, cool my tongue, please.
Yeah. But Abraham's over on the other side being comforted.
Right.
So, but then when Jesus resurrects and ascends to heaven, he brings the souls from the righteous dead side with him to heaven. And now when we die, we go to heaven, which is greatness.
So do you think that when in the Apostles' Creed, when he descended into hell, is that him going to get them? And then in 2 Peter, where he like triumphs over them, like, all the dead before, that's taunting
proclaims the gospel and God's victory and judgment.
Over death. And hey, sorry guys, I'm taking these guys to be with me.
Listeners, look all of this up and enjoy theology of the underworld.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. So there is a deep theology there. But to be fair, I do think the reason why I think the land of the living is unique and special is because you aren't immortal. There's something really awesome about being mortal, that you are in danger. There's a real risk. There's a vulnerability that... it's like, although we all want to watch football from the sidelines, to be a player in the game has a real special connotation. And there's a time where you want to do it and you're really excited. And there's a time to retire when your body kind of gives out. And so I think it's sort of like that. There's an excitement about being in the game.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. I think Lazarus was hyped to be back. He's like, all right, let's go.
I get another run at this. I don't know if he got any extra healing or if he was younger, better skin. I don't know. All right. Sorry. Go on. That was probably a side rabbit trail that we probably didn't need to go for so long. All right. What about Caiaphas? Is like he prophesies as the high priest, and he's right. Like he actually is right. The God uses he fulfills the prophecy.
Yeah.
But he's not of God. Right?
Yeah, he's saying this kind of not knowing what he's even saying is the sense that you get. Like he's saying he's saying it in the sense of like, hey, if Jesus dies, sweet, it's better, it's better for us because we're rid of him.
And he saves us.
Yeah. Well, it says, he saves in the sense of like one man kind of, they punish him and they'll leave us alone.
Right.
But what really was happening is he saves us by God punishes
Jesus
him
and leaving us alone.
for the sins of the world.
Right.
So it's like there's a double meaning there. He didn't quite get the fullness of it.
Okay.
Even though what he said was true.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into some truths about the nature of man.
Okay. Men die. We're mortal. We die.
All right, that's good. How about people deal with grief uniquely?
Yeah.
That Mary and Martha, same brothers, same family, and they're coming to Jesus with the same statement, but different heart behind it. Like
different emotional condition.
Yeah. Kind of interesting to me.
And, weeping, there's a time to weep. Jesus wept, and it's, I don't know. It's just, it really does stand out as something really powerful to me. There's a time for that.
Yeah. Our culture isn't really good at crying. It's like, we don't want to sit in our sorrow. We just like, okay, move on. In fact, I think there's a cool part about memorials of Christian church Christians that there's a celebration aspect, but there should be a part of it where you do cry and you get sad because
exactly. There's a part of us that goes, no, this is, I don't want to be sad. I just want to be happy. And it's like, actually, it's good to grieve and lament and weep. That's an important thing to do. appropriately. I think sometimes we cry about all the wrong stuff. We cry, we cry and complain and weep over petty things.
Like having a terrible football team or like, I didn't get the job promotion that I wanted or the career or what have you. How about this? People oscillate between belief and unbelief based on the same sign. Like when Lazarus walks out of the tomb, you would think everyone's like, sign me up. I'm a Christian.
Yeah, right.
But this is why, people, if I just saw Jesus, if I saw him do a miracle, if I whatever, I would believe. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, some of them saw and go, we got to kill this guy.
Right. Like their response wasn't, that's amazing. Wow. Their response was, he needs to die. Now, I don't know. Are demons anywhere raising people from the dead? I haven't heard of that. Usually demons celebrate death and they don't want to bring anyone back to life.
Yeah.
There is nothing about anything demonic. Demonic is all about death. Like, wherever you see skulls and there's, it's probably not great behind it,
Catholic Church, but they do kiss the skulls and keep the relics and kind of weird, but it's an honoring the dead.
Say about that. Maybe that speaks for itself. Go ahead.
I don't know. Skulls. Let's move on. But it is interesting. They go, we got to kill him, and that response is, it's not just like, man, if I saw God do a sign, I would believe. Yeah. It's actually like, well, maybe, or maybe you'd hate him even more.
It just reminds me of Pharaoh. It's not like Pharaoh did see the signs.
Exactly.
His heart was hardened. He's just like, every sign he saw, it's like, I'm going to not believe in spite of you. It's like, I'm going to stick it to you.
Another one about, this is more of a metaphorical deal. And so let me know what you think about this. But when Lazarus comes out, he's wrapped in his grave clothes and Jesus says, unbind him and let him go. And he was raised to life, but he still had the garment of death on.
Nice.
And so I think you can be a Christian, raised to new spiritual life, but still be kind of wearing the garment of your old life.
And you need the followers of Jesus to take off your grave clothes.
Exactly. Man.
All right. How about this? Character of God. Let's go there. God delays for a greater glory.
That's good. Yeah.
Hey, 4 days. Hey, you could have done it. Like, you could have been here and we could have skipped the grieving. But sometimes grieving is a part of living.
Yeah. And, didn't just delay 1 or 2 days. He let it sit until there was an odor, until it was just like, this whole thing there's tears, there's a stench, and right in this right in that place, that's where I'm going to show my glory.
Do you think it stunk when they pulled open the stone? Everyone's like, oh, God.
Had to. I mean, that's what she said, right?
Right. And then he starts praying and everyone's like gagging off to the side.
Right.
And then he calls them out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What about,
also, we're on God, right?
Yeah.
Lazarus come out. He says that to a dead man.
Mm.
The word of God brings life to the dead.
Which is why demons don't raise people from the dead.
Right.
Because that goes against their kind of mantra. All right. God is intimately, passionately, angrily moved by human sorrow in the sense that he loves us with a jealous love and he hates it when we hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it teaches us something here too. I don't know where this fits about nature of man or God, but Jesus's public prayer.
Yeah.
When he prays out loud and he's like, I know you hear me. I'm saying this out loud for them.
Yeah.
Like he prays in it, and it's not just about what he's saying to God, but also how it's instructing others. I think there's something there about when we corporately pray in church, when we lead a public prayer, at an event, or even pray over our food at dinner at our homes. There's something about prayer that is not just between me and God, but is also instructive in public.
That's good, because I think sometimes from Matthew chapter 6, when you pray, go into your closet, to your room or in secret, and then your Father in heaven will reward you. There are times where it's appropriate to publicly pray, and don't be afraid, ashamed, or think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. And your public prayer is not meant to try to make people think you're cool. That's what he was criticizing in the Sermon on the Mount, right? But if it's meant to instruct and edify others, then
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like we we have sort of said, oh, I don't want to pray because I want my prayers to be in secret.
Yeah.
And so we've
This is Jesus praying in public
privatized
out loud.
prayer as prayer is supposed to be personal. It's not necessarily supposed to be private.
Not merely private. There's private prayer and there's public prayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? Let's get into an application. So we got a sin to avoid or confess, a promise to claim. How about an example to follow, a command to obey, and knowledge to believe? What you got?
I love Jesus's courage and boldness here where the disciples say, Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you. You're going to go there again? And he's like, yes. Example to follow. Be bold. Don't be fearful of others.
Right, that's good. How about promise to claim? Jesus is the resurrection and the life. If you believe in him, even though you die, you're going to live.
Yeah, knowledge to believe. The word of Jesus brings life. And so when you share his word with others, God may use that to change someone's life, to bring spiritual life, to wake them up from the dead. That's awesome.
How about command to obey? Come out. Lazarus, come out. If you're dead in sin, come out. Come to new life in Jesus.
Amen. The example to follow of unbinding him from his grave clothes. And, you may have a friend who is a Christian, but they've gotten back into some of their old ways, and they need the Christian community to love them enough to help take off the grave clothes again.
Yeah, are there any grave clothes you're still wearing?
Oh, yeah.
That you need help getting it off? How about knowledge to believe? The verse from verse 40, did not tell you if you believe, you will see the glory of God. Like when you believe in him, you can know you're going to see the glory of God.
Yeah. Amen.
Anything else?
Jesus is going to raise everyone to life one day. When, is it Mary or Martha?
Martha.
I know he'll rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Just a reminder in terms of application of knowledge to believe. A day is coming where Jesus will judge the living and the dead, and all will be raised up to stand before him in judgment. So again, come to life, believe in Jesus.
Amen. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow on A Chapter a Day.